Hey Liz, welcome to Power Women Wellness. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks so much for having me. It's great to be here.
I know I'm excited that you're here and that we're going to be talking about health and the connection that you've seen in your life as you balance entrepreneurship and everything else in your personal life. But first, I have to ask, what brought you into the boudoir industry? Which I love, by the way. This is like such a thing now, and I love that because I feel like if you asked 20 years ago, people would be like, "Oh my God, what?" But now it's just like I know photographers here in Austin that do it. And I just love the like empowerment it gives women. But I'm so curious what brought you into this industry.
Yeah, so if you haven't heard of boudoir, boudoir is just a fancy French word that means a woman's bedroom. But what I do as a boudoir photographer is I create a safe space for women to come in and create sexy, sensual photos of themselves to feel confident and empowered in their own skin. And I've been doing this full time for about a decade. Um, so about a decade ago, I signed up for a boudoir photo shoot for myself. I wasn't
Okay.
sure what to expect. I was very nervous. I was a photographer doing babies, weddings, events, what I
Okay.
call normal photography, right? But I signed up for this boudoir photography for myself. I thought it would be kind of fun. I thought it would be a gift for my husband. What I didn't realize is it was going to be like a transformational experience for me to show up in bigger and better ways in my life. So after I had that photo shoot about a year later, I decided to open up my own boudoir boutique. And I've specialized in boudoir and photographed almost 2,000 women since then.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Honestly, I think that bridges, I would assume, one of the questions I had you, that was in my questionnaire that you filled out, connects, or you wanted to speak about the connection between like body awareness and self-love, and I know, and how that connects to wellness. But I'm assuming there's a little bit of an underlying theme with boudoir, because like as I mentioned, like it's so empowering to do, and I don't know, is there a connection there?
For sure. I mean,
Okay,
I view boudoir as a form of self-care, right?
I
You
love
can
that.
come in and do a boudoir photo shoot, of course, to create a gift for a partner if you want to, but it can be just for you. It can be a moment, a day where you stop and say, I am worth it. I am enough. My body, my life is worth documenting, and I'm here for that reason. And I think
Oh.
sometimes as women, we've been socialized to believe that we are worthy when we give to others. We
Yeah.
take care of our children, we take care of our spouses, we take care of our jobs, we take care of houses and all kinds of things. And sometimes we believe that we are good women, and I'm putting that in quotes, we are good women only when we give to others. But I believe
Mm.
there is a real power in stopping and saying, I am worth taking care of me. I am worth being in the photos. I am worth, my body is a beautiful vessel that takes me places, allows me to experience things. I'm going to care for this body. I'm not going to hate this body. I'm going to love this body.
Oh, I love that. That, as you know, obviously being in the industry that we are in with health, that's tends to be something that a lot of women are fighting against is just their dislike of, every day it's just kind of they're nitpicking their body and just picking things apart. And it's definitely a goal to have them not do that because like you said it one woke you up, two it carries you to do your passions, and then a lot of us moms can relate to it grew humans. Like our bodies grow humans, like it doesn't get any more incredible than that. I think we're in similar seasons. I think you have two teens, right?
I do. Two teenage
Okay.
daughters.
Okay, I have a teen and then a tween. So I'm kind of in that similar space too. Um, let's talk about, I know that you had some long COVID issues. And so I'd love for you to talk more about how that impacted, of course, your health, but also just like your work. I think COVID was a time in our probably life. Hopefully, we never have anything like that ever again. But it was a time in our lives that we really started to understand how important health was, especially when we are, exposed to something that's kind of brand new. And it was kind of the test that I feel like a lot of people didn't know that we needed to say, what are we doing? And are we doing it well? So I'd love to just kind of hear that because we've had some patients who have struggled with like long COVID. And reflecting back, since having COVID, was there anything that you felt like you found that you needed to improve on? In every aspect of health, it could be stress, it could be food, it could be exercise. I love kind of hearing those reflections.
Yeah, so I mean, COVID, I think it's one of those kind of moments where something happened to all of us. No one got through that without being affected.
Yeah.
I had just opened my studio pretty recently when COVID hit. And
Mm,
here in the state of Illinois, it was illegal for me to keep running my business. So I got shut down for a few months. And that was really stressful at first. Not just financially, but also sort of emotionally as a solopreneur. Like I'm the only
yeah.
one running the studio. What does that mean to have the studio shut down? And actually, I was really fortunate during those early months of 2020. I stayed healthy, my family stayed healthy, and I was able to sit at home on my laptop and do a lot of important work on my business that had kind of gotten put to the side
Mm,
as I was starting. And when I was able to reopen later that summer, I was able to hit the ground running and keep running my business. So when I first got shut down, I thought, life is over, we're all going to die, my business is over. But I actually came out of that first wave just fine. About a year later, though, I got a bad case of COVID. I was really sick couldn't get out of bed for about a week. And then it was like I never quite got better.
mm,
I was still really, I didn't have COVID anymore in the sense like I could get out of bed and I could breathe again, but I felt this like sluggishness and this like inability to really like regulate my nervous system. I would either have a really racing heart or
mm,
I was so tired I couldn't get out of it. It was like one or the other. Like I was either really revved up or I was really, really tired. And this went on for a long time. And at first, I didn't realize that it could be COVID related.
yeah.
I thought maybe I had anxiety, because I was feeling these racing heart. And I thought, well, I mean, I do have a lot of things I worry about. And, I was having a hard time sleeping, whatever. And so I initially sought help from a psychiatrist. I tried some SSRIs. It really didn't help. And then I started going to talk therapy. Just still kind of
All the things.
on on this kind of anxiety beat. Like, well, maybe if I talk out some of my fears, like I'll start feeling better. And interestingly, after a few months of therapy, my therapist said to me, like, I don't actually think you're anxious. And I was like, well, I'm feeling something. She's like, I know, but every time I talk to you, you have like a lot of like really good coping mechanisms. And I actually don't think you're, and that was the first time that it occurred to me that maybe something was going on physiologically and not
Mm,
psychologically.
mm,
And
yep.
took a long time for me to sort of get to the bottom of that. Turns out you can't just go get a blood test that says you have long COVID, right? You can't
Right.
go get an X-ray or an MRI or a scan. There's nothing, there's no diagnostic for you're not feeling well, but we
Yeah.
can't put our finger on it, right? So I was really fortunate actually to connect to a natural doctor, kind of a homeopathic doctor after really exhausted my resources with just going to a psychiatrist and to a regular
Yeah.
doctor. So my OB, and they're all like, well, there's nothing we can really find that's wrong with you that's diagnosable, which
Yeah.
was good. Like I was glad I didn't have, cancer or MS or any,
Yeah, right?
this is great news, right? I went to a homeopathic doctor and she actually sat and talked with me over 2 sessions of 90 minutes each, which was the longest any doctor had ever sat and talked to me, which was a gift.
Yeah.
And she took blood and did all this, and she finally said, I, there's nothing we can diagnose you with, so you got to turn to lifestyle changes. And I was like, lifestyle changes? I don't want to make any lifestyle. Like, I'm already like a reasonably healthy person, I try to work out, I sleep, all these things. But anyway, I ended up cutting out processed foods, really focusing on my sleep, working on strength training. And over the last year, I've really been able to improve my
Mm.
how I feel.
Yeah.
It wasn't like there was a magic pill, it wasn't like there was a magic thing that suddenly made me feel better.
Yeah.
It was kind of some some lifestyle shifts that like didn't seem like it can't really be sleep. It can't really be like brownies. Like that can't really be making me sick.
Yeah.
But those lifestyle shifts have really helped me improve and I feel a lot better now. That was a
Oh my gosh.
long story.
No, I love it. No, it's so important. And I would say that's so typical of women coming to us too, where they're not like, they try their best. They don't eat like the standard American diet, and they know to prioritize steps and all these things, right? But there's still like that gray area where you don't have anything that's diagnosable, which is great. I always remind them like that is a great thing, but I know that leaves frustration because like, well, I'm not feeling well. So if I'm not feeling well, something's off, but maybe your blood work isn't. Even if you do any, it's not going to show things because it's not like bright red alert, alert, you're on your deathbed kind of thing. So I think it's those little things in our life and our diet. I do think it's so important to do. And even though it kind of sounds like it's too simple, it's kind of like how I feel when people say like you're stressed. I'm like journaling is like incredible. I love journaling so much. It sounds so easy. It's kind of like, no, like that's not really actually going to make a difference. Like it's okay, but it does. And it's so simple and little, but it really does make a difference. So, lifestyle changes, while minor and maybe not, maybe you weren't like a really unhealthy, like, and you went 0 to 100. Maybe you were like 75 and you went to 100, right? But sometimes that final like 25% is all it takes, to get you feeling better. So I'm so glad that you're feeling better. And obviously you can that I know you would probably agree that that impact of how you feel just it impacts the way that you can show up at work. And a lot of the times our work is like so much of our passion. Like it's something we love to do. It's not just to make money. It's something that we love to do. And so not be able to show up for it the way we want, it's just it sucks.
And interestingly, I don't really know what the one thing that I changed did that
Yeah,
made a difference because it's not like I can say like, oh, I did this one shift
100%.
and now I feel like it sort of was a portfolio of things that I didn't really want to do and I already felt like I was sort of doing.
Yeah,
Like it wasn't like I was completely sedentary and eating McDonald's
yeah,
every day at all, right? Like I was eating a lot of homemade food and I was working out some and like but like I made improvements in a lot of small ways, in a lot of
yeah,
variety of ways across food, diet, sleep. And that seemed to make enough of a difference that
yeah.
it pushed me into feeling better with the long COVID. If it even is, I mean, to this day, I don't even really know if it's long COVID. I
It was just
call
that
it that.
trigger though, that like common trigger
Yeah.
where things started going
Yeah,
downhill.
but like
Yeah.
who's to say exactly what has happened or what I don't know. It's one of those like amorphous health things, but like it was
Yeah.
real for me. Like I mean, there were days when I couldn't get out of bed because of this like dysregulation. And then there were days when my heart was racing. I even went to a cardiologist because I was having these racing heart
Yeah.
things. And he was like, maybe try like relaxing. I mean, because same kind of thing. Like there
It's
wasn't
yeah, yeah, yeah.
anything you could put a pin in, right?
Yes, yes, yes. No, and honestly, I feel like that's like health. I always say health is like this bucket, and it's never typically, it's not one thing that gets you to that point. Like I don't even think, even though COVID is questionable, because it was newer to our body, but I even think sometimes it's not just that one trigger, it's multiple things. And that trigger and COVID was the thing that maybe just set you off. Like your bucket is overflowing at this point, but it could be all the things leading up to that of like the stress and maybe, yeah, diet wasn't on point. And it's never just one thing in both like getting you there of why, someone falls so like sick and not feeling well. And it's also not one thing that gets you to like the finish line either. It's a combination of things in every regard. So I definitely understand that and see that for sure. Um,
And that is something that's really hard a lot of times for standard Western doctors to understand because
yeah,
it's not like one thing that you can point to or it's they're just like, well, I don't know. Sorry, you're
yeah,
not sick enough for pharmaceuticals,
yeah,
so I don't have an answer. And that was really frustrating because
yeah,
I couldn't figure it out on my own, and the doctors weren't able to really help. It's like,
yeah,
where do I go from here? You
yeah.
know?
Oh my gosh, yeah, I think there needs to be a big shift in like how we view healthcare. I think we all grew up with thinking like, the Western MD is going to be, that's end all be all. They know all the things about our health. Like if we have any health problems, we go to them. And as I've gotten older and obviously the industry that I'm in, I've come to realize that there's a time and a place for that, right? Like there's a time where we need pharmaceuticals and we're really sick or we need surgery, but they aren't the end all be all. What it is, it's more so they're on this like line of people where everyone like kind of works in different areas of health and in different seasons need different things. And so while they're not the end all be all, they're a part of it, but there's all these other people, as you mentioned, like therapists and like what we do, integrative practitioners that focus on like food and lifestyle, is that we're honestly all equal. We just focus on different areas of the body. And so I feel like there needs to be some dismantling there because so many people like you think like, I'm going to these doctors and no one's figuring out what's wrong with me. So like, am I broken? And it's not really you. I'm like, it's actually just kind of the system that's broken of how we view health. So you're not alone there. But I'm really
There's
glad that you found
even
someone that thought to like think outside the box.
Yeah, there is even a long COVID clinic here near me, and
Oh my gosh.
I applied to see someone at the long COVID clinic because I was like, I think this is what I have, and I wasn't sick enough because I
Interesting.
could breathe and I could walk and whatever, and they were like, well, you don't really qualify to be seen at the long COVID clinic because you're functioning, you're not sick enough. And I was like, I know I'm not like dying here, but I'm like not well, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
was
And that's still,
interesting too. Like I didn't fit neatly into a box where I
yeah,
could be helped even
yeah,
by a long COVID clinic. So it's been an interesting journey for me to learn a lot
yeah.
about the system, about my taking care of my own health, about seeking, not stopping and continuing to try to find solutions.
I love that. And I know in your questionnaire you mentioned, I love what you said, that wellness is the ability to meet life's demands without like losing yourself. So I'm curious how you've built that lifestyle for you that supports that recovery in both like, of course, the highs, but also the lows too. Because, as an entrepreneur, those are definitely going to come.
Yeah. So I run my own business, right? When I don't work, the business doesn't run. And when I work, the business does run, right? And so that feels like a lot of times like there's a lot of pressure on me. And like I said, I think wellness is being able to function and work through those moments of
Yeah.
stress, enjoy the good times, right? So one thing that is just a non-negotiable for me is sleep. I do
Mhm.
not I don't stay up super late, even if there's something fun going on. I'm sort of
You don't
the like,
play.
sorry, I'm going to bed. Yeah, do I enjoy things? Yes, but I schedule things
Yeah.
during like that don't happen after bedtime. I'm not out at some dance club late at night. I don't book super early flights. I don't like to have
Mm,
to wake up at 3 or 4 a.m. to get on a flight. It disrupts my sleep and that whole rest of the day. So I just really, really prioritize sleep, especially since this long COVID thing. Um, I don't I don't really negotiate on that.
yeah. I love that. Goals, of course. Sleep is usually one of the ones that I think we all know it's important, but everyone's so focused on what exercise do I do and what food do I eat, which is important too. But like no one really like says that about sleep. And then like yeah, I find out I'm like, okay, you're tired and you're not feeling well. I'm like, oh, you're going to bed at midnight. Well, that's definitely part of it.
I used to feel, I think, some guilt about sleeping in or resting. And
Yes.
now I view it sort of like I would exercise. Like I got a good workout in, I got a good night's
Mhm.
sleep. Like I don't feel any shame or guilt about that. I'm just
Yeah.
I just enjoy I say it now all the time like I love sleeping. I need
Yeah.
sleep. I do think I need a little bit more sleep maybe than the average people, but I just
Okay.
accepted that. Like
Yeah.
8 or 9 hours a night, that is my sweet spot. I'm not doing that 6 or 7 thing. That is just not for me.
See, seven is my sweet spot. Seven is like the perfect amount for me. And it's very individualized. I have friends who need nine. So that's like their sweet spot and stuff. So yes, I'm usually up before then. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, I know you need your sleep. So I'm assuming maybe
Well, I
this
think
favorite.
we live in a culture, right, that like really like I think valorizes like the hustle and the like get up early and like
Yes.
stay up late, burn the midnight oil, or whatever. And I bought into that for a long time. And I've just no, I'm not into that anymore. Nope, I need my
Yeah.
sleep. I'm going to
Yeah.
bed. That's it.
Yeah. I feel you. What is it? It was we sleep when we're dead. That was like the saying for a long time. I'm like, well, you're gonna die quicker if you don't sleep. I'm assuming this might, your love for sleep, does this correlate to one of your favorite health tracking apps? What is that?
I use a couple of different apps.
Ooh.
Yeah, there's one that I've used. So when I decided I was going to try to give up processed foods, I started, and listen, I'm not perfect at this. I'm not on this on this podcast saying that I never eat chips or anything ever again. But I started decided I wanted to track everything that I ate,
Hmm.
and it is a weight loss app. It's called Lose It, but
Okay.
it wasn't for weight loss as much as it was for tracking.
Hmm.
And I found out that like when you decide that you're going to write down everything that you eat, what you eat changes, you
Oh
know?
my gosh, yes.
And this app in particular called Lose It has so I actually downloaded like five different food tracking apps because I was like, I'm gonna figure out which one I like the best. And this one is just so easy. You can like
Mm,
scan, you can do any amount like tablespoon or cup or grams or pounds or like it just like anything, and I've just like I track everything that I eat in there. I did that for a really long time. I'm not quite as
nice.
strict as I was, but just writing down what you eat really, really helped me get a handle on what I actually was eating because I was eating
Yes.
mindlessly a lot.
Yeah, yes, that too. And then we always hear, I swear I'm eating enough. And then, yeah, we go and look in, and I'm like, you're definitely not eating enough. You're eating like the amount a toddler needs. And so a lot of people rely on hunger cues or just like what they've always done. But typically that's just not enough. And our bodies also get used to, certain habits. So I always say, do we actually really know the next level of health that you could get to? And a lot of the times people don't. They just think like, I feel good. But I'm like, but what if you felt better? Like, there's another layer to that. And I'm like, yeah, I guess. But I love tracking, and I definitely don't think people have to do it all the time, but I absolutely love checking in. Like if I haven't done it in a while, I'm like, let me check in, let me track, let me just make sure that I'm still like on the right path. Because as we get busy, things can start to fall through the cracks. So I like coming in and
And
out of it
I
too.
I thought at first that I would like either hate tracking or that it would give me like a complex and that it could
Mm,
turn into like disordered eating or something. Like I was actually kind of concerned about tracking because I was like,
yeah.
"Oh, tracking sounds like something that won't go well for some
Yeah.
reason in my mind." But I started I actually like really like it.
Yeah.
Actually very
Yes.
like, oh, look at where we're at, and it's like, oh, I got 90 grams of protein. Look at that. It's
Yes.
like for me, I love data. Like I just
Yeah.
love it. And so what all of my fears about tracking actually didn't come true.
I love that. Yes, it's I think it's because of probably the 80s and the 90s, when everyone was like losing weight and then everyone's doing like super low cal and then you had to track. But I think it's more empowering. But I think it also is like what's your mindset and your history going into it. So like if you're more if you struggled with disordered eating, typically you don't have the mindset that I do going into it. So it depends there, but I'm the same as you. Like I find it so empowering, and just like we track our gas in our car, like what's fuel to empty. Well, I want to know that about my body too. I'm like you, I love data. What's the other app that you love?
I can't remember exactly which one I was telling you about.
You just said favorite health tracking app. I thought for sure you were gonna say the Aura Ring.
I don't
Because
actually have one.
oh my gosh, you would love it if you love sleep.
Yeah, I do. I should get one.
That's my favorite. So that's why I was like, if you said that, I was like, yes, that's my favorite too.
I
Um,
I do track my cycle.
mhm.
And I use I've actually so I'm the same way, like download a bunch of different apps to see which one I'm gonna like the best. And interestingly, I've noticed so I'm 44 years old and I've noticed all of a sudden I'm inching towards some of those perimenopause
Mm,
where your cycle gets slightly shorter, which
yep.
I would not have noticed if I hadn't tracked because you don't notice the difference between 29 days and 27 days if you're not tracking.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
wouldn't notice, but all of a sudden on the app, it's telling me I'm 2 days shorter than I used to be. I'm like, here we go. I'm entering menopause. Here we are.
See, I love that though, because I feel like my control freakness loves that. Because I'm like, okay, I know where I'm at. I have the data. Like I feel in control because I'm like, I'm understanding my body. I'm not like, what's happening? I am so unaware. I've never tracked myself. What's my normal? That's why I love data because it helps me feel like, I'm in control of like my health, which I know there's obviously things that we can't control. But to me, I'm like, if I can control as much as I can, I'm good. Um, let's see, is there anything else that we haven't talked about when it comes to wellness and what you do? I will say I have one more question of if there was any resources like podcasts or books that you feel like really changed the game for you as an entrepreneur and building a business that like you can think of like this book or a podcast or resource made like a huge difference to me.
Yeah, there's two things I'm going to mention. There's a book called Profit First.
Yes.
Yeah, that changed the game for how I thought about my expenses and my business. So the book is written like I think not necessarily for a solopreneur who's starting their own business from scratch. It's written almost more for like a bigger business, but I was able to take the principles. I think someone should take that book and like write one just for solopreneurs. Maybe I should do that.
Ooh.
But the principles in that book were so helpful to start understanding how to run a profitable business. So the first like year and a half that I ran my business, I wasn't able to pay myself because I was just getting started. I was making a lot of mistakes. I didn't know what I was doing. And that book was one of those things that really helped me turn from running a business that was bringing in revenue and running a business that would be profitable.
Hmm.
So I recommend that to everybody. The other health and wellness thing that has made a huge difference in my life is powdered magnesium.
Hmm.
So I take powdered magnesium every day, and I also have migraines. And that powder,
Yeah.
I did not know I mean, I had migraines for 20 years before someone told me, magnesium might help, which is crazy. I'd seen neurologists, I'd see general, no one said take some magnesium. And actually, I think I tried taking magnesium pills for a little while and they didn't do anything. But powdered magnesium is more bioavailable and it made all the difference. Especially
Love
after I
that.
had my two pregnancies, I was getting migraines all the time, really destroying my like quality of life. And the powdered magnesium has
Oh
just
my
really
gosh.
helped.
Is there a brand that you take that you love?
Yeah, I take the natural calm. You can
Oh
get it
yeah.
at Whole
Yeah,
Foods.
I love those.
And some people say it hurts their stomach. I have no side effects from it. It is just, and it just has really eliminated my migraine problems.
Yay, I love that. Yeah, the citrate, it can be a little bit more of a laxative effect. So you might even hear some people taking it like because of constipation. So magnesium citrate's really great for that. I know, isn't it so funny that like you go see someone and like you have migraines and something that I feel like there's just some I don't even think you need like really in-depth nutrition knowledge, but it's like magnesium and omega-3s and just some like natural things that are very basic. It's like, no one told you that? Like, that's
Well,
just
and
so
it's
crazy.
crazy to me. It's even if you go to the National American Association of Migraine Doctors or something, like some really official looking thing, on the website, one of their first lines of recommendation is magnesium, powder magnesium. And yet, when I had gone to see doctors and say, I have migraines, no one had ever mentioned it to me.
Yeah.
I've had migraines since I was 12 on and
Oh
off,
my
right? And I'd seen
gosh.
doctors. I get the kind of migraines where I would lose my vision and throw up. And I'd go to the
Oh,
doctors and I mean, I ended up in the ER one time because they thought I was having a stroke because my vision went out. But no, it's just a really bad migraine. And yet no one said, hey, go to Whole Foods and buy yourself some natural calm. And it costs you 20 bucks and has no side effects. And it's not even a pharmaceutical. I wish some,
yeah.
and again, it was a natural path to kind of a doctor who I went in and she said, well, why haven't you tried this first? I've never even heard of it.
Like, I have no idea. I don't even know.
Yeah, and taking that magnesium, it's just helped all kinds of things for me. And I believe
I
I
love
was
that.
magnesium deficient. And the other tricky thing is you think you're eating magnesium from avocados or bananas or whatever, but a lot of the time those are grown in magnesium depleted soil.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're like, hey, I'm eating a banana. I must be getting the magnesium, but actually the very banana you're eating is actually also magnesium poor.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's tricky. So, because you can't like put the banana on a scale and say how much magnesium's in this banana that I'm eating. You
Yes.
can't know, right? And so anyway, the powdered magnesium's really made a difference for me as well.
Yay. Okay, good. Actually, this is my last question. What would you say to a woman that wants to do boudoir, but she hasn't pulled the trigger yet? What words would you give her?
So I'm not here to talk anyone into doing something they don't want to do. But if you have kind of this idea that you want to do it, but you're a little bit scared, the first thing I would say is boudoir is for everyone. Boudoir is for you. Sexy is not a size. You don't have to
Mm.
lose weight to do a boudoir photo shoot. You don't have to be different than how you are. Boudoir is meant to celebrate you and your journey just as you are. Sexy is a vibe. You show up, we can make you look great. And it's just a way to celebrate you just as you are. It's not about transforming you into looking different than you are. It's to celebrate the beauty that's already within you.
Oh, I love that. Oh my gosh, amazing. I'm so glad we got to be connected and so encouraged to see how much you've overcome. And honestly, everything that you're talking about, I'm like, I just feel like you've become such a big advocate for yourself, and the things that you prioritize in your health and the things that like your journey that you've had to go out there and find and not give up. Because a lot of people will end up like just giving up and be like, I guess I'm just tired and it's just I'm broken. So I love that you were an advocate for yourself and you kept going. So I appreciate you, and I'm excited to share this with the world whenever it comes out. So thanks for joining and hopping on today.
Thanks so much for having me. This was a great conversation.